This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Oil rose on Monday as a supply shortage and political tensions in Eastern Europe and the Middle East put prices on track for their biggest monthly gain in almost a year. Brent Crude had risen 66 cents, or 0.7%, to $90.69 a barrel by 1005 GMT. The front-month contract for March delivery expires later in the day. The most active Brent contract, for April delivery, was trading at $88.98, up 46 cents, or 0.5%. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude rose 51 cents, or 0.6%, to $87.33 a barrel. The benchmarks recorded their highest levels since October 2014 on Friday, $91.70 and $88.84, respectively, and their sixth straight weekly gain. They were headed for about 17% gains this month, the most since February 2021.
European gas demand is expected to decline this year as continued high prices make coal more competitive for power generation, while Asian demand growth could slow, the International Energy Agency, IEA, said on Monday. Last year, European gas consumption increased by an estimated 5.5% to 552 billion cubic meters, BCM. However, demand is expected to fall by around 4.5% this year to 527 BCM, partly driven by reduced burning of gas in the power sector which could fall by 6% from 2021, the IEA said in its quarterly gas market report.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Oil prices will build on a strong start to the year with geopolitical risks to supply complementing a strong demand rebound as fears over the impact of the Omicron coronavirus variant fade, a Reuters poll showed on Monday. A survey of 43 economists and analysts forecast Brent Crude would average $79.16 a barrel this year, the highest projection for 2022 thus far and a notable increase from December's $73.57 consensus. U.S. crude was forecast to average $76.23 in 2022, versus the $71.38 forecast last month.
Authorities are rushing to prevent an oil spill in eastern Thailand from damaging fragile corals, after officials said on Sunday the leak that began last week was drifting towards more coastal areas. Minister of Natural Resources and the Environment Verawat Silpa Archa said it was crucial to try to prevent the main mass of oil from reaching the shore at Ao Prau, a small bay on Koh Samet, which is a popular resort island. If the oil reached inside this area it could impact the beach and cause heavy damage to the shallow water corals, Verawat said. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Copper prices were little changed on Monday, while aluminium edged lower on profit-taking and thin Asian trading as Chinese markets were closed for a week-long Lunar New Year holiday. 3-month copper on the London Metal Exchange was virtually flat at $9,503.50 a ton by 0623 GMT. It hit a 3-week low of $9,496 on Friday and was on track for a monthly loss of more than 2%. Aluminium shed 0.4% to $3,069 a ton, extending losses after scaling its highest since mid-October in the previous session.
Gold prices steadied on Monday but remained poised for their worst monthly showing since September as the U.S. Federal Reserve's plans for interest rate hikes boosted the dollar, driving away bullion investors. Spot gold was flat at $1,790.87 per ounce by 12:19 GMT, and has lost about 2.1% so far this month. U.S. gold futures rose 0.3% to $1,791.70. The Fed's hawkishness is largely unmatched by other major central banks, strongly supporting the dollar, which represents quite a headwind for gold, Active Trade's senior analyst Ricardo Evangelista said.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
India is likely to produce 31.45 million tons of sugar in 2021-22 marketing year, nearly 3.1% more than the previous estimate, as output is set to jump in the key western state of Maharashtra, a leading trade body said on Monday. India is the world's second biggest sugar producer, and the higher output could weigh on global prices. Maharashtra's sugar output is likely to rise by 10% from a year ago to a record 11.7 million tons in the current marketing year that ends on September 30, the Indian Sugar Mills Association, ISMA, said in a statement.
Finally, we have the most recent news on the financial market. Foreign banks based in the European Union may have to hold more capital and liquidity under revisions to rules being considered by the bloc's member states, an EU document showed. Officials in Brussels are looking to classify more foreign banks as subsidiaries rather than branches, a change which would require them to beef up their local balance sheets and come under direct EU supervision. The move would ensnare a large portion of lenders which opened branches in the EU after Britain left the bloc. An EU document prepared for member states and seen by Reuters said adjustments could include an automatic trigger for subsidiarization, or ways to constrain the discretion that regulators have in deciding which branches must become a subsidiary.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.